Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming out and listening and watching the real Short Box. My name is Donald. Right below me here on the screen, you'll see this is the ever-present Kevin. Over here, to my left, will be it can only be Jarrett, and in the corner over here, bottom left, would be Daredevil Darren. So, thank you for coming out. We're going to get this rolling here. We're going to be discussing overall the rankings of the Batman films. But first, we want to get some people's opinions on the Robert Pattinson film that's going to be coming out soon. I believe next year, if I recall. Hopefully. And so we're going to do a quick discussion on that while I get us going live and get us posted up on YouTube and everything. So, guys, take it away.
All right. So we are here talking about the Batman. This will actually be the 10th film made about Batman, at least significant live-action film. Obviously, there are a strew of animated pictures that I know we are big fans of as well. So my initial thought on the trailer, and I'd love to hear Kevin and Jarrett weigh in on this, it's just a trailer at this point. Like, I don't think there's a lot of information for me to make my mind up with. Although, I must say, just upon further research, I do like the villain choices.
I do as well. I'm a big fan of the Riddler, and I'm hoping this second time around he's given proper justice on how he's portrayed.
Well, it looks like they're going much darker. I mean, in vein of the Nolan films, but the trailer to me had like a Fincher feel to it. It was definitely the Riddler looks almost like a serial killer, which I think they're kind of making him in a sense. The only one, and it's not from the trailer, it's just casting wise. I'm not too big on the Zoe Kravitz Catwoman. Only because I just also don't think they should throw in Catwoman so soon. I think they should keep it as simple with the character, because we're also going to have Penguin, right? From an unrecognizable, even when you tell me it's him, it does not look like Colin Farrell at all. Like, the makeup is amazing. But I don't know. It definitely piqued my interest. It didn't. Robert Pattinson has definitely taken a critical for the better turn as far as the movies he's put in since the Twilight franchise, and he's gotten quite a lot of respect for those films. So
yeah, he's growing up.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. And like Darren said, it's a trailer. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more.
Yeah. We will reserve judgment until next year.
Gentlemen,
after that, we'll know.
We have our first viewer here, our first participant. It's Enrique. Everybody say hello.
What's up, Enrique?
One of our number one fans and our constant here, Enrique. We always appreciate having you on the show here. Feel free to be as vocal as possible during this, because we are going to be discussing some controversial choices on our favorite Batman film.
Yeah, we will be arguing our own list. How about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I there's a lot to say there, but I did want to stay on the Batman for a second. I do like the Matt Reeves choice to direct. They clearly went out and got someone who does have some directing experience. I worked on a Matt Reeves film, so I'm a little partial to him. But I'm kind of like, I'm feeling that one, because there is a tendency, I think, for people to be very careful about budgeting and, there's certain research you do on certain people. And the fact that they went out and got a known director that I know can handle this material in terms of the CGI, the visual scope of the movie, that's always an encouragement. Now, the substance of the movie, once again, I haven't gotten enough out of the trailer to really make a judgment there. But the look of the movie, it's clear to me what they're trying to do visually, and that's a positive.
Absolutely.
What else has Reeves directed?
Cloverfield.
Okay.
That's his really big one. We could do an IMDb check on him.
He did one called Poopy McButthole, if I recall.
No. That was John Reeves.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Thanks for that, Donald. Matt Reeves just unfollowed us.
We did go down from 3 viewers to 1, so possible it was Matt Reeves and his brother or something.
Click and click.
We do have. He did direct Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, so he's done some huge scale films. Okay.
Yeah. Let Me In, which is a American
Remake.
version of Let the Right One.
Oh
In,
yeah.
French
Yep.
film.
Yep.
I have mixed feelings about that one, by the way.
Not as good as the original European version.
You're absolutely correct. Enrique says he's leaving.
No.
Funny, Enrique. By the way, I posted everything, guys, so we're all
Yeah, I
we're,
got it. I
we're all
just
set.
shared it.
I'm sharing right now. Did you share it with the Palooka people?
Already done.
Already done, dude.
All right, we're gonna get on that. All right, so
Posted
once
it.
we share.
Guys, my mom has just popped on. Everybody say hello to my mother.
Hello.
It's
Is-
Donald's mother.
Hi, Mom. She always gets a look at my my living situation here, my backdrop, when she's on here.
Live inside your head.
Yeah,
It's another version of Herman's head, huh? That's. A
It's
deep cut.
like he never grew up, is what she's thinking.
Starring Yeardley Smith, oddly
Mhm.
enough.
We have a DR that just gave a rock on sign here. So right back at you.
I think I know it is. I think that's Dennis, my old coworker at my old side job, Domino's. I think
Oh,
that's
really?
him.
Oh, I was gonna say it was Denard Rodakowski.
Okay, could be him.
Hey, we're here. I'm here for the fun, or as Marshawn Lynch would say, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
That's right. And he certainly didn't like getting fined. That's a lot of money they take from you.
No one likes getting
All right,
fined,
we
Kevin.
are about to go live momentarily. Everyone who's out there viewing us at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing the Batman films and ranking them. And Kevin wanted to make this very well known because we probably haven't been doing this as well as we should have. But please subscribe to our YouTube page. We put a lot of effort into we do a lot of fun little vignette videos and stuff on the side. We have an actual podcast that we do. We do this live broadcast, usually every week, sometimes every 2, just depending on when we can get together. We are in a pandemic, apparently. So there's that. And if you can subscribe to us on YouTube, that would be fantastic. Also follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast itself if you feel like doing that. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the big ones. I think we're even back up on Apple. We were down off Apple for like a hot minute, but we're back up on there. So you should be able to find us on pretty much every streaming podcast platform. All the fun ones, anyway.
Just click on the bell and the notifications.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to change this out, and we're going to get started then on the ranking of the Batman films. So let me type that out.
Kevin.
Yes, sir.
The floor is almost yours.
All right. Give me a few seconds as I continue to pump out the links to folks.
Here we go. By the way, I just wanted to talk really quick about the announcement of Tatiana Ali. Am I right?
Yes.
Playing She-Hulk announced as the
Really?
role.
She's playing She-Hulk?
Well, not She-Hulk herself, but she's going to be playing the humanized part of She-Hulk, I guess. Well, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. So yes, she's playing She-Hulk, but we don't know exactly how she's playing She-Hulk.
I mean, I'm guessing she's playing just the
The cousin?
the cousin, and then
Bruce's
they're gonna
cousin?
do the CGI.
Here's the thing, though. Because she's not like the normal Hulk, they could go the Jessica Jones route. Just have her, like, beef up a little bit, get some muscle on her, and then just be, like, paint her green, you know? They could do
But
that.
she's so, from what I was looking at the actress, she's pretty small. So I'm guessing she's just gonna play the it's Jennifer Walters. Why am I blanking on this right now?
Yeah, Jennifer Walters.
Yeah,
Jennifer Walters.
I blanked.
She's playing Jennifer Walters, the lawyer, and then I mean, unless they went Lou Ferrigno style and got like a really tall, big, buff actress, but
What if they just put Lou Ferrigno in a wig?
we get people to tune into it.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
He might. You know what? He might do it.
By the way, everybody,
No style is the only style I approve of.
Maria just logged on. She says, "Hey." So hello, Maria.
What's up,
We
Maria?
also got the WandaVision trailer yesterday.
Did we?
Yeah, it looked really good.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's they're going a weird route, which is perfect. Like it doesn't. It's weird because it's the actors from the MCU, same actors and actresses. Totally different vibe to it. It just looks really good.
It's great that the character of Vision is finally getting a little more of a spotlight. I always thought when he first appeared in Age of Ultron, he got a bit of a bum rap because the movie everybody thought at the time was a bit of a dud. If you go back, I swear, if you go back and you watch it, it's great now. It's actually really good. It connects all the dots of the future movies that you've already seen, so it makes much more sense than it did back then. Yes, there's still some issues with it, but overall it's a really good film now if you go back and watch it. And the Vision's a badass. He's a badass character, and I'm glad he's finally getting his time to shine. It's great.
Great origin
Tatiana
cover.
Maslany. We said Tatiana Ali. Tatiana Maslany. She's not
Oh,
really.
I was about to say. I thought it was the lady, the young lady from Fresh Prince. I'm like, wow, how's that
Ashley
gonna work?
Banks.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, wow.
Ashley Banks.
Sorry.
All right.
Anthony says howdy. Howdy, Anthony.
Or sneeze. But
All right, so let's get started, gentlemen. Kevin, take it away.
All right. Welcome, brothers and sisters of podcast land. Welcome to the most righteous, most stupendous, most lovely podcast out there today, the Real Short Box. And now I'm going to introduce to you my three brothers of the podcast. First, on my upper right, he is the Sultan of Youngstown, Ohio. He is the prognosticator of the short box. He walks and carries the big stick of truth. He is the Iron Man of the facts. He's a man's man. He is the debonair of modern day masculinity. He is simply Darren.
Excuse me, is the gym that way?
The other direction, sir. The other direction.
Oops.
And to my upper left, he is the executive director of the Real Short Box. He is an intimate lover of Silver Age comics. He is the hot rod of pop culture. He has a beard that most men would kill to have. Women's heart flutter.
Jared, I thought it was you.
No, it's you. Women's hearts flutter when they see this man's beard. He is a man of our times. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the original Donald.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And last but not least, he is a man of international mystery. He was the 2019 Northern California Husband of the Year. He is the fool killer of ignorant people everywhere. He is the Lionel Richie of Bronze Age comics. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sweet White Chocolate. He is Jared.
simply ravishing.
Nice.
All right,
Hey,
guys.
everybody. Jarrett's Josh is just logged in. Says sup, guys. So, hey, Josh.
Brother Josh, thank you for joining us.
All
And
right,
of course,
so here we go.
last but not least, I am your humble podcaster, the Grand Master of the Jedi and Vulcan Arts, your Supreme Chancellor, Dr. Kevin.
All right. Fabulous intros as always, Kevin. Folks, we are going to get right to the meat here as we operate on a time limit. So, we have 9 Batman films that we have had to evaluate, and we are going to count them down from worst to first. Before we do that, though, I would like everyone to have an opportunity to explain how it is that they rank Batman films as far as what criteria they're looking for. I guess I'll go first. So first off, when I'm looking at a Batman film, part of it is you have to have certainly some kind of dedication to the comic material. Batman has been around since, I believe, 1927. There's lots
39. 39.
Oh, my apologies. Live fact-checking right there. So it's been around since 1939. And what you're going to have here is you obviously will have not only just one Batman through story in Detective Comics. You'll have, Dark Knight's rendition, Long Halloween graphic novel. You have all sorts of them. So it's incumbent upon me to, of course, see some kind of semblance to that. But I stress even more so, is it a quality movie that we're seeing? Because in my view, if I'm sitting to watch a movie, I'm not expecting it to be the comic book. That's just a personal thing for me. I go heavily on the quality of the movie, and maybe not because, in my opinion, I don't think the source material has ever been properly done to my complete satisfaction, but some of these movies have been. So, Jarrett, when you are evaluating your list for the best Batman movies, what is it you're looking for?
A little column A, a little column B. I definitely want atmosphere, so I want them to be able to capture the kind of feeling of Batman and Gotham that I am attracted to, which would be more from like the 80s on, kind of Denny O'Neil through Frank Miller and all this stuff like that. And then basically rewatchability. Is it a movie that I'm like, I want to see this again? And because it's going to have to be an action film, and action films should have rewatchability. So I want to be able to go like, am I going to pop this in the DVD player again and again and again?
Kevin, what are your thoughts as far as what you're looking for when you're grading all of these Batman films?
Well, first things first, as with any TV show or movie for that matter, it starts with story. Do we have a good, compelling story that I can follow? And then, of course, is it staying true to the best of its ability to the faith of the character itself? The spirit of the character itself, I should say. I believe that's also a very important thing when it comes to movies like this. And unfortunately, not every Batman movie has done that. And that's to me is one of the most important things. And of course, the most important thing actually behind that is a compelling villain. That what Batman needs to be counterpoint, a good villain for him to go against. That's a good challenge. Very important.
And Donald, of course I know you're a Batman fan, but you're also one of the larger DC comic fans that I've known as far as length of time I've known someone.
Donald's DC for life.
What exactly are you looking for when you're evaluating the quality of a Batman film?
First of all, Oscar from the explosive comic pressing and clean.
Yes.
He just popped on to say, "Sup, fellas?" So, hello, Oscar. Thank you for tuning in. Oscar does run one of the, if not the best, pressing and cleaning operations for comic books that you will ever run across. And I'm not even joking. Just 2 weeks ago, Kevin, wasn't it? 2 weeks ago, I got back two Ultimate Fallout number 4's first appearance of Miles Morales.
What were the grades now? Tell what the grades.
Both of them 9.8, baby.
Wow.
9.8s. And then Adam, Legend of the Blue Marvel, came back 9.8, number 1 issue. So you can't go right there. That's like $4,000 in your pocket right there if you sold those books instantly because of his quality of work. So thank you, Oscar, for that. We always appreciate that. We always appreciate you tuning in. What do I look for when I'm thinking about like a Batman film? I went last, so it's a little hard to come up with something original. But I will say it's a nice combination of Jarrett and Kevin of what they said. For me, it is rewatchability. Nolan's films are great for what they are. I have not seen any of them more than once. But the original Batman and Batman Returns, for example, I've watched a shit ton of times because there are something that I can put in at any point in the movie and enjoy. So rewatchability is very important for me. The other one is the aspect of what defines a hero in these Batman films. What kind of turmoil is he up against, his inner strife, so to speak? Where is his barometer for who he is as a character? So for me, a lot of that has to do with the villains that you put into the film and how he plays off of them, the love interest that you put into the film and how he plays off of them, and Alfred. Alfred is extremely important for me. So you have to have a good Alfred or you don't have a good Batman. So for me, it's a lot to do with the other pieces around him. And then, you get to... You can't have Batman without Bruce Wayne, and you can't have Bruce Wayne without Batman. So there has to be a really good balance there, too. So all of that needs to come into play for me to enjoy a Batman film.
You know what? That's very similar to James Bond. You need a good Q and a good M
to
go with them.
All right, that's great. So, Donald, I assume you have some images captured here. Would you be so kind as to post up number 9?
Sure. Real quick, Comic Myers says, "What up, guys?" Oscar says, "Thank you for the kind words, of course." Yes, 181 is next on the list. Thank you, Oscar. Yes. I gave him my 181 to clean and press and submit that and get that going. So we'll see where that goes. It's Incredible Hulk 181. For those that don't know, it's the first appearance of Wolverine.
Shout out to you, Oscar. You promised me 9.8s on everything I sent you, so thank you for that as well.
Does anybody know Little Greek Coffee House?
He's here.
I sure do.
Alexi, he finally came in. How you doing, buddy?
Rewatchability, absolutely. The originals are the most rewatchable as well. So thank you for tuning in, sir.
I met him in January of 2001.
Wow.
In an Acting 1 class at free shout-out Youngstown State University. Lexi, thank you for joining us. And you're not seeing things. I am wearing glasses these days.
Nerd alert.
All right. Why don't you, if you can, Donald, please post up number 9.
Absolutely.
Or as we like to say, last place or the participation trophy.
Last place participation trophy. Womp, womp.
I don't think this one will come as a huge surprise.
I don't think so either.
You never know. You never know.
There's always going to be 3 fans of this movie.
That's true.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're right. So let me bring it up here real quick. It is... Boom. Oh, nope, that ain't it. That is not it. Hang on. I don't know. That was labeled incorrectly. I apologize.
Yeah. Yes.
I hope it wasn't my fault when I sent you the thing.
There it is.
All right.
No,
here we go.
I got it.
We are talking about Batman and Robin. So I'll be super brief and let you guys take it away. I've not only not watched this movie a second time, I've never even considered watching this movie a second time. I've seen it on VHS rental shelves. I've seen it on DVD rental shelves inside the library. I have never, ever had the urge to put this movie in a second time, and it's 23 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a great drinking film.
Yeah, I have 2 things for this film, and then I'm done. My entirety of seeing this film was I snuck into it because it was one of those ones where you go to the bathroom from the movie you paid to see.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to go sneak into another film. So I snuck into Batman and Robin, and it was right at the part where Poison Ivy introduces herself. And it was like, this big dance extravagance. And then she was like, who are you? And she's like, Poison Ivy. And I was like, all right, I'm out the door, back to my other crap movie. So I walked back out. My second thing I would say about this film that I feel bad about is it was directed by Joel Schumacher, and he gets a lot of credit for ruining that Batman franchise. Aptly so, but he is also a great director, or was, I should say, rest in peace. So I do feel bad of the negativity he got from those movies because he actually did put out, like, Falling Down, The Lost Boys. He did some great films. Not this one.
Yeah, this one, I feel like Batman Forever made a shit ton of money, and they were like, okay, keep doing what you're doing just as long as you get us this money. So he was like, oh, cool, so I can go even further. So you can tell he's a huge fan of the 60s Batman. You can tell that he's a huge fan of the flair and the absurdity of this type of Batman. And I appreciate I appreciate that very much. And actually, at the time, they were considering Patrick Stewart to be in the role of Mr. Freeze, which I thought would have been perfect. But they went with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But to their credit, they went the corny punny-filled Arnold Schwarzenegger that we all know and love now as Mr. Freeze, and it's endearing. I can't say anything bad about Arnold as Mr. Freeze. It's actually, when he's watching the I'm Mr. Ice Christmas, I'm Mr. Snow, when he's watching that, I am grinning ear to ear and loving it. So I don't have anything bad to say about him. What I do have something bad to say is their treatment of Bane as
that's
a
ridiculous.
secondary bullshit, just lineless mob character brute. It was just disgusting the way they treated him. So I had a problem with that. Rubber lips, of course. Chris O'Donnell with the rubber lips kissing Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy in general was just bad. Alicia Silverstone was just bad. George Clooney, for God's sakes, he was a good Bruce Wayne. If you compare him to Val Kilmer, there's no comparison. Val Kilmer was a terrible Bruce Wayne, but he looked great as Batman. George, he looked good as Batman, and he was a good Bruce Wayne. So those are my goods to it. The bads are the story. Again, Bane, and then the story itself, and some of the other characters, just not a good film overall.
Also, the DVD-ROM for Batgirl, for her to become Batgirl, it's all on a DVD-ROM or CD-ROM.
Yeah.
It's also excruciatingly long. And we have to remember Joel Schumacher was a costume designer before he became a director, so the flair makes sense. What do you think? We ready to move on to number 8 here?
Absolutely.
I just want to say one thing. Bat nipples. All right, go.
Bat nipples, yes,
yep.
Certainly.
By the way, TJ Anderson says, Batman and Robin makes for a great drinking game. Everyone picks a different character and has their own rules, like drink whenever there's a bad ice pun, drink when Robin whines, drink when Bane says anything, etc. So, yeah, TJ, that is actually a fantastic drinking game.
And good on you, TJ. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to the next one. We're moving on to number 8. Anybody want to guess what this was? I think it's going to be an easy guess on this one. Come on, guys.
It'd have to be the movie before Batman and Robin. Batman Forever.
You got that right.
It's going to be Batman Forever. Now, Kevin, I know you are a huge fan of the Riddler, so take all the time you need.
Well, I don't know about taking all the time I need. It's just that I think the problem with Jim Carrey, he watched too much of Frank Gorshin from the 60s Batman and just assumed that's what Riddler is, where all Frank Gorshin was really doing was trying to outdo Cesar Romero's Joker, because they both competed for that same part. And people probably were confused over the years thinking that Riddler is just another version of the Joker, but just with riddles, but that's not the case. Riddler is a very, deep thinking, brilliant criminal mind.
Yes.
It has to be done properly. And that's what I'm hoping that this new movie, The Batman next year, actually shows some of that, rather than just this goofy, Riddler type character. Jim Carrey is just bouncing around like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Jarrett, so obviously you had mentioned Joel Schumacher earlier. This is Joel Schumacher's debut with the Batman franchise. Same old?
This one was way more forgettable because as Batman and Robin, you had the puns and you had it was so over the top, tongue in cheek. And you guys are right. Schumacher was influenced by the 66 Batman, which I wasn't even thinking of. But it just didn't work after going from the Tim Burton style. And the only villain I want to show, because I'm a huge Two-Face fan, I'm also a huge Tommy Lee Jones fan, and those two did not mix at all. That was the worst look. It was hypercolor, pink 90s, half face, and just, oh God, it was such a garbage rendition of that character who I love. I love Two-Face.
Well, first of all, you could tell that Tommy Lee Jones didn't want to be there. The way he's acting is just let me just get through this.
So Donald, you're going to give some credit to that circus tent scene in the Robin origin story, right?
By the way, Hakeem says, "Hey guys, hey Hakeem, good to see you, sir."
Hey, what's up, Hakeem?
Hey.
Yeah, there was a great soundtrack.
Outstanding, actually.
Actually, both movies, Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, have great soundtracks.
You've got Michael Hutchence. You've got
Seal.
You've got
U2?
U2.
You too,
Kiss
Brandy.
Me, Kill Me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack. So that I was very happy that came out of this movie. Otherwise, it's a piece of effing trash.
So
It is, in my opinion, the worst piece of trash that ever existed in Trash Kingdom in a Batman film. It needs to be wiped from everyone's memories. It should not exist. Val
I
Kilmer.
Tell Drew Barrymore.
Val Kilmer
She was in
looked
that movie.
great as Batman. He was a terrible Bruce Wayne. Just effing
He's lit.
terrible. Chris O'Donnell, of course, as Robin. No, it just didn't. No, sorry, it didn't work. Two-Face and the Riddler trying to continuously one-up each other. I get it. It's kind of like a throwback to the 60s campy Batman where the Riddler actually did try to one-up the Joker all the time because they were both up for the same role in actuality in real life. I get that, but you still can't have the two same characters. Two-Face was not the Riddler, but he's acting exactly like the Riddler is acting in this film, and they're both acting like the freaking Joker.
Right, doesn't make any
Well
sense.
said. Yeah.
Awful. An awful film that I wish never existed, and I don't want to talk any further about it.
All right,
Yeah,
let's.
I'm only going to briefly mention the CGI with all of the green effects from the Riddler. After rewatching it, was kind of irritating, I must say. And I just don't think there's a moment Jim Carrey's not chewing the scenery behind him.
We got a comment from Arm Fall Off Boy. He says Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face was terrible. Drew Barrymore saved that movie, obviously. Haha.
All right. So let's kind of jump into number 7, which, by the way, I had number 7 at number 8 and number 8 at number 7.
Okay.
See, here's the thing, everyone. We need to explain here that we have a consensus here that we do come to, but that consensus also does come with disagreement.
Okay.
So this will happen.
Kevin, this picture is huge, so it's taking up everyone's face. So if you want to be seen, you'll want to peek over off to the side and look like you're excited to look at the poster.
Well, I don't think we're going to be talking about this one much for that long.
Kevin, that was perfect. I'm doing the same thing.
Batman 66.
There you go, Jarrett.
This is literally like a film that just said, we're going to take every single Batman character from the TV show and just ram them into one movie and have this abnormal preaching by Adam West every time something dies.
You know, the thing is, the movie knows what it is, so it's somewhat enjoyable. I mean, you don't take it too seriously. Although Adam West, I love how he brings Shakespeare to the role in a way. You know, he's really trying hard to make it serious, but
right.
That's what makes it so funny. That's why I love it so much. It's so hilarious. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, you're having fun with it. You know, you're not going to get the best dialogue or the best special effects. It's just a fun, cheesy 1960s campy Batman movie.
Yeah, it's almost unfair to put it in this list because it's like it's the oldest of all of the 9, and it's it came from a cheesy hokey TV show. So
and we've got shark repellent, guys.
Yep. Yeah,
we've got
kind of the most memorable thing about it.
We've got Batman running around with a bomb that's ready to explode, and he just doesn't know where to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of fun to this movie. It's if you watch it now, it can also very much be a drinking game. By the way, Angela, hey Angie, nice to see you on here. I went to high school with Angie.
Angie.
Hi.
She commented, and she's talking about Batman Forever. She said it was so hyped. I think McDonald's even advertised. Yes, they did. They had glass mugs, which I owned every single one, as well as every comic book fan in the 90s. We all owned every single one, unfortunately. I mean, they're cool. They're actually really cool mugs. Don't get me wrong. They look really cool. TJ Anderson, really quick, says, the only thing I remember about this one is Cesar Romero still having a full mustache under all of his Joker makeup. Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Of course. Classic TJ. Maria says Batman 66 is so much fun. Maria, I agree. That's why we put it ahead of Batman and Robin and Batman Forever.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into number 6.
Okay, number 6, we got it.
Batman versus Superman. Now,
disappointing.
A little caveat here. I recently watched Batman versus Superman, the Ultimate Edition, and I will have will have to admit, there are definitely improvements to this movie that were not in the theatrical cut. But for me, quite simply, the horrid choice, in my view, of the Lex Luthor character is what really does me in on this one. Because to be frank with you, I don't have a lot of problems with this movie. I don't think it's exceptional by any stretch of the imagination. Don't get me wrong, but it gets dragged down so much for me, and I try not to use one character to really make my judgment, but this is just too much. It's ridiculous. I don't know where this was inspired. I don't know how this character came to be, this Luthor version, and that's kind of what did it in for me.
Hey, Darren, are you the one that watched the extended cut, or have you not seen it?
Yes, I did watch it.
So you're probably the only one out of the bunch of us that took the time to watch it. And I'm probably the only one out of the bunch of us that saw this movie 3 times in the theater.
You saw it 3 times in the theater?
Yeah, 3 times.
You're
because
kidding
I
me.
couldn't understand.
Wow.
Kevin, I couldn't understand what I was missing. You ever get, like, you have an epiphany in life and you're like, what is wrong with me? Why am I not enjoying this? What is life? You know, and you just... going out of your head, you're having this existential crisis. This caused that for me, man. This caused that for me. It's not a good film by any means, but I will say we do have 2 people that played their characters to perfection. Ben Affleck as Batman, great. He makes a excellent Batman. And Henry Cavill as Superman, he looks like Superman should look. It's perfect casting on both fronts. However, it falls short due to the story. It just takes a giant shit in your heart, and that's unfortunate.
But to clarify, Dom, and Kevin and Jared, I'd like you to chime in on this. To clarify, though, will you concede that what is missing for you is the fun factor?
That's part of it.
I feel like the energy of this film is just severely lacking. Because
I personally can't comment because I did not even see this film. I did not see this film.
I think Zack Snyder's visuals are really appealing here, but once again, you're not exciting anybody.
Right. Arm Fall Off Boy says somebody owed Jesse Eisenberg a favor. Also, the director's cut is actually good. Arm Fall Off Boy, I guess then I will have to watch it a 4th time because I haven't seen it since the 3 times in theater.
I wonder, Darren, did they improve upon the Martha scene? Oh, both of our moms are named Martha. Let's not fight anymore.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't remember it that detailed. What I will say is I feel like the story has massive gaps in it in the theatrical cut that it just puts together more. Now, granted, the film is also 30 minutes longer. So, like, all those loose ends that you see during the film, it flows better is all.
Wow. 30 minutes longer. That's a lot. And did they put the Green Lantern in there like they said they did?
I didn't catch it. Quite possibly could have,
okay.
But it would have been an Easter egg. And, should we take a moment to comment about Doomsday?
Oh, good Lord. That was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. I think I told you my theory after that. Instead of making Zod into Doomsday, I thought it would have made more sense to make Zod into Bizarro.
Yeah.
Because at least it would have been something like a human type figure you could relate to, and it would have made more sense. You know, he could have spoken to Clark, or Kal-El, and you could have more of that conversation rather than this big CGI monster that takes you out of the movie. That's the biggest problem with most of these DC movies. These big CGI monsters just take you out of the movie. Yep. They have to learn.
The CGI fights are a big problem. They always have been with Warner Brothers since they started coming back with their films, and then I don't know.
My vision just kind of blurs when I just start seeing like crumbling this and crumbling that and it's just all mush to me after a while. I'm like,
What's that Nintendo game with where these buildings, these monsters are tearing down? Was it Rampage or something like that? Exactly, that's what it's like, basically.
Yeah.
Something like Rampage 4.
Which they did a live-action version of Rampage and starred The Rock.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I liked that one.
It was fun.
It was quality.
It knew what it was.
Do we want to jump to number 5?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're jumping. It's on the screen.
Okay, because here's the thing. I'm going to have a massive disagreement with this one, so I will let you guys plead your case.
Bring it.
Batman Begins at number 5. And go.
Donald, let's start with you because I know why you have a problem with this movie.
Okay.
So you go first.
So you take a villain as amazing as Scarecrow with so much potential, the master of fear, and you make him a secondary character that's a bitch. You make him a secondary bitch boy character. Disgusting. Disgusting. It made me sick to my stomach.
Equal level with Ra's al Ghul. It should have been an equal level. There should have been like a partnership, an equal partnership.
Yeah.
Him and Ra's al Ghul.
I agree and I don't agree because I think his intro was awesome.
Oh
with
yeah,
him,
that's
like
cool.
saying, "You want to see my mask?" I thought that was awesome.
Cool. That part's
It's a
cool.
great scene, and I like Cillian Murphy. I think he's a great actor.
I like Cillian Murphy too, but I don't like Cillian Murphy when he's playing a bitch boy.
No. I will agree. They made him a second. They made him like the hitman almost for Ra's al Ghul.
They almost made him Bane from Batman Forever. They really did. Like, they just trashed the character.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, Batman and Robin. Thank you. They just trashed the character and just made it hurt me because he's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Batman villains. Just to see that happen alone, that threw that clear down at the bottom with me.
I would go and say that Carmine Falcone was a more interesting character than Scarecrow in many respects.
He was. Also, the whole... I get Batman's a lot of doom and gloom, but there was just more doom and gloom than I'm wanting in a Batman film in this. I would like a little hope. And there didn't seem to be any in this film, and that bothered me. So this film's very, very troublesome. Katie Holmes just
oh god,
she just couldn't keep up with anybody in this film. My apologies, Katie.
This cast.
I say both. We'll get to her, the other one too. But I think Maggie Gyllenhaal too. I think that character was just.
Yeah.
Like just a plot device.
Yeah. By the way, Hakeem says the creation of Doomsday was as much an atrocity as Abomination was in the Hulk with Norton.
Ooh,
that's a pretty good parallel. And
all right,
and he also said, starting with Batman Begins, they basically brought in the whole cast from Inception, and Katie Holmes was a mistake. So yes, Hakeem, I agree with you 100%.
So the thing is, we have this consensus at 5. I have this one at number 2, and very close to number 1. Now,
you better justify this.
Once again, my criteria is the quality of the movie a little more so than the faithfulness to the comic book, because I'm watching a movie now. I'm not reading a comic book. And one of the most interesting things that Nolan did here, for me, if you compare it to Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, within 5 minutes of that film, he's Spider-Man. This film, it takes 45 minutes for him to become Batman, and I personally feel you need to know who's under that mask before you put the mask on him. And you also have to lay a groundwork to go through 3 films here. Now, to me, part 2 and 3 are for the better because they took the time to develop the character of Bruce Wayne and Batman. I don't think Liam Neeson was necessarily like an overpowering villain by any sense, but he was just right for this movie. The screenwriting is textbook excellence, in my opinion. The directing, I could see some people having a problem with it because it does have a very independent feel to it, which maybe you don't want to put into a Batman movie. I totally understand that, but I like the look. Christian Bale's all right. I'm not going to jump for joy over him. He's just all right in this movie. Obviously, Hans Zimmer's score is tremendous, and there's a lot of lasting power in this movie to me, and I would have elevated it way higher on this list.
Okay.
I would think personally, I think the Nolan films for me have the most rewatchability.
Yes.
Which is interesting that Donald has not seen. I would actually like Donald to go back and rewatch them because I'd be curious to see your. Never mind.
All right.
I would like to put that out there.
So is it fair to jump to number 4?
Yes, it is.
Jared, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't know if you want me to be one, but make me rewatch them. It's a possibility. Okay, so we know where this is going. It looks like we're going in a wonky version here on these Nolan films. So we are going to go with The Dark Knight Rises, and
nobody knew about me until I put on the mask.
Yes.
So here's the deal. What we got here, Dark Knight Rises. This is on one of my top 5 lists for most underrated movies ever made. Now, there are clearly a couple of errors in this movie that are ridiculous. we all know that. There are 3 scenes that absolutely do not need to exist, in my humble opinion. The film would be no different. The thing is that I think it's a very quotable movie, which makes it very memorable. The last hour of the film, even down to especially the last half hour, is like truly great cinematic creation for me. Tom Hardy is good, but not too good, which is what I kind of like. I don't know about the storyline with Batman and the crutches and his body's breaking down. It's an interesting take. It's not what I prefer, but it's very memorable. It's very quotable. I go to the gym with my friend Pete when the gym was still open. We quote this movie all the time because it's like endearingly slightly ridiculous, but obviously the whole idea of the caste society and the social, the sociology behind it. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's very clear what he's trying to get across. But once again, Nolan's kind of an indie director.
You know, had Heath Ledger lived, Joker would have been in this movie, and I think it would have been so much better. You know, if you put him together with Bane, I think there's a lot of possibilities story-wise, how things could have went down, especially with all the prisoners being released out into society. I think that would have been very interesting.
I love this film. I've watched maybe this one the most. I do think it's too long. I definitely think they could have edited it. Definitely, once again, there's only one Catwoman for me, and we'll talk about her later. I did not care for the Catwoman in this at all.
Baby.
They didn't call her Catwoman, by the way, brother. Remember that? She's just they really didn't call her Catwoman. They just called her, Selena.
Yeah, but she just so like you can overact, but you can't overact sexy, and you either have it or you don't, and she didn't have it. I thought Tom Hardy was like comedically and this take on Bane to me was like hilarious and awesome. We quote in my house, like, when somebody goes like, "Oh, that's a good thing," and then we'll be like, "For you," because
I wasn't a fan of the twist though at the end with him. That kind of bothered me a little bit.
I kind of just let it slide because I was like, okay, they're just ending his character kind of thing.
Again, because he's taking a back seat.
Yeah, again, if it's like a partnership, cool. I want them to be co-conspirators. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, you're like you would say.
Nolan's the master of characters you enjoy taking a back seat.
Yeah.
He'll be like, oh, you like that one, huh?
Yeah, I prefer the co-conspirator approach.
But in reality, none of his villains have superpowers in these movies, and Batman. In Batman Begins, his powers seemed very limited, and as the series progressed, he became more and more superhero-like, more fantastical. Right. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting take on Batman Year One, I think. But hey, moving on, I guess.
Yeah, Arm Fall Off Boy says Rachel Dawes was excellent in The Dark Knight Rises. I agree, much better choice.
Dark Knight Rises? She wasn't in Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, she was.
Dark Knight.
No, we're
the Dark Knight. Rachel Dawes.
Now, if Donald watched these more than one time, he would have caught that.
Well, either way, I'm not the one that said it, for starters.
Oh.
I'm just agreeing that she was excellent.
Dark Knight.
So we'll go with that. Anyway, Maria says that I want to see a movie of the events that take place between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Maria, I agree as long as we have someone else direct it besides Christopher Nolan.
Oh.
Because I'm tired of that vision. Guys, I just got really tired of that vision. I'm tired of the everything has to be realistic and like not all the Batman villains were realistic. Eat a dick. It's like
Would you tell it to his face, sir?
Yes. Yes. I tried at one point. I went to a screening and I was shouting out, "Eat a dick!" And he couldn't hear me.
British face. You would tell him to his British face.
But Maria, I agree. It'd be a very dramatic Batman because we'd have to learn how his body broke down and how he became kind of a waste. I would kind of like to see that too.
Also, how many years was it between when he started out being Batman and then he was all broken down? Like 5?
About a decade. No, about a decade.
7
years. Yeah, it was like 7 years.
8 years. It was 8 years between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
Either way.
I mentioned it. Yeah,
no,
Batman really didn't have much of a run, did he?
No, not really.
No, not at all. He kind of shit the bed pretty early. So we're moving on to the next one.
So number 3, the one that is the most offensive on this list, if you ask me to put this at number
Offensive?
3.
Wow.
We're going to go with The Dark Knight. All right, guys, take it away.
No, it's not number. It's not
No,
number
it's not
3,
Dark
Darren.
Oh,
It's
do we
Batman
have
Returns.
Batman Returns?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All right, Batman Returns would have fallen back a few spots for me. It's a personal animus, kind of like Donald's issue with the Scarecrow. This was the first time in my young life I was disappointed by a film. I was about
Wow.
12 years old, going to Regal Cinema South. I really like Batman 89 a lot. Obviously, we'll get into that, and we'll talk about that all separately eventually here. But Batman Returns, to me, do you have well-cast villains? Yes. Michelle Pfeiffer is excellent. Unfortunately, forgotten as Catwoman unless you're like a real Batman the Movies fan. Love Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Max Schreck, Christopher Walken. That's great. The plot to me is a little cumbersome. It's a little weird. I love the look. I guess I love the vibe a little bit, but it just has very little rewatchability for me. I've rewatched it once or twice as an older man, and I still don't really care for it that much. It's just boring to me, non-consequential, and dated and kind of silly in many ways.
Well, for all intents and purposes, it did cause the creation of Batman Forever and Tim Burton not coming back or asked to kind of be pushed aside, and also Michael Keaton not returning because they were selling toys at this point, as you know. Merchandising became a big deal with these Batman movies, and I guess they didn't push enough product because they felt it was too dark and kids were a little freaked out. So this is a controversial film in many ways.
Scared the shit out of me in that.
Danny
As he
DeVito.
should.
Danny
As he
DeVito as the
should.
Penguin was the best casting decision. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman was the best casting decision. Christopher Walken as the villain was a great, masterful stroke there. It is a dark film. It is a departure from the first one in some ways, but the first one is very dark too, guys. They're both dark imaginings of the film, of the actual canon Batman, of the Batman story. But they're very well done, and they're very Burton-esque. So in that, I appreciate them very much. And the rewatchability for these, for me, with Batman Returns is quite opposite to Darren. I've seen this many times. But I took a long time off recently, and last December, I believe it was me and my buddy Rob Antis and Mark Kobalinski and a few of us, we went to see the first and second. They played them back to back, if I recall. And watching the second one on the big screen, again, and I hadn't seen it on the big screen since I was a kid, it was just like I was a kid again. It was great. There was so much fun to be had in this film. So I love it, and I love it. I think number 3 is a great spot for this film.
So we move on. Let's get on the big 2.
Moving on.
Let's get on the 2 here.
Okay, next
so
one
now this is
coming
2.
up.
I still think it should be 1, but we will keep it at 2, and I can live with it. We're going to go with The Dark Knight here. The cons right away. The sequence with the boat and the bombs was a little too much. I feel like I really got the Joker to this point. He's a maniac. We get it. The Joker character, too, really only plays one note, but it's an awesome one note. He's just variations of crazy. Two-Face, excellent casting choice here for me. And the story, it's really interesting to take Batman and make it a mob movie. I thought that was really not something I would have advised, but for some reason it really worked. I mean, and Christopher Nolan is really good at taking actors you haven't seen in a very long time and making them really cool. I love Eric Roberts in this. That's an excellent casting choice. Obviously, Aaron Eckhart at the time was a relatively large star. But other names are escaping me at the moment. But Eric Roberts is the one that obviously jumps out to me the most. And to go the Eric Roberts route, and he's a guy who, like in Inception, he pulled out Tom Berenger. Like, I just really like that Nolan brings in people that you just haven't seen in a while. And he's great. Heath Ledger, obviously, is Heath Ledger. Batman is one of the weaker characters here, but I love Lucius Fox in this quite a bit.
I was just about to say that.
All right, sorry to take all your material. I will push it over to you guys.
No, it's okay. I agree. Lucius Fox, Morgan Freeman, I definitely enjoyed his character in this movie, especially the little conflict he had with Bruce Batman towards the end on how to, finish off the Joker, how to defeat him. And also the fact that they didn't kill off the Joker how I thought they were going to kill him off, similar to the next movie coming up. I'm glad they kind of preserved him. And the fact that he kept pushing Batman's buttons, like he's trying to get him to kill him, but he won't do it. He's like, wow, what? You really are a man of your word. Like you are truly incorruptible. Literally one of his last lines in the movie. He was trying to push Batman over the edge. And that's what I like. When you have a villain that really matches up with the hero, you have a great story, you have a great movie.
I thought the cinematography in this film was like, some scenes were breathtaking to me. The scene where Joker is head out the window like a wild dog and it's just quiet for a second is like beautiful and like so I don't know, just a great shot. To me, I thought Heath Ledger was a tour de force. I was not a big Heath Ledger fan. I saw this film and I was like, and of course the tragic circumstances, that happened right before it came out, and, kind of like a Brandon Lee Crow thing added to it. But it just made it, to me, it's like heartbreaking because I was like, oh man, he was so good in this. Like,
I know. The opening scene's
great. Aaron Eckhart too is like Aaron Eckhart's leading. Like I've seen Aaron Eckhart in person. He used to go to a cafe by my old work on Sunset, and he looks like he looks in the movies. He is like movie star, butt chin, handsome, like. But he plays character actors. Like he plays character. Like the way he did Harvey Dent, I thought was great. The way the transition to Two-Face. One thing I forgot to bring up, because Donald, you were mentioning how Alfred is so important to Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Caine Alfred? No, not for me. Yes, perfect casting. It makes sense. But the writing that they gave him, especially in Dark Knight Rises, where they really tried to beef his character up.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I was like, okay, once I saw it, because I saw it like 2 or 3 times in the theater. Once I saw it, I was like, okay, anytime there's an Alfred scene, you can go take a piss break. Because he's going to go have a monologue where he's like, I found you, son. And then he's like, I see. And he talks about his fantasy about seeing him. And he talks about what he's ordering for a drink. And I'm like, no, that was Dark Knight Rises. But Dark Knight, I don't know. To me, it's just the most solid of the 3. I will agree with Darren said. I think none of the other ones would be anything without the buildup of 1. So it's like almost like 1 kind of took a hit on some levels because it had to give you this foundation. And I thought Dark Knight benefited from it so much.
Yeah. I think the problem for me, why it's not number 1, is this is an Oscar caliber movie. And for me, Oscar caliber movies don't have much of a rewatchability.
Really?
I bought the DVD of this with the Batman, it's his face of Batman and stuff, and it comes in a case and everything. Never opened it. I didn't want to be emotionally drained. I didn't want to, sometimes you want to feel emotions and sometimes you want to feel excitement. And I think that the difference between Marvel movies and movies like this is that most Marvel movies make you feel excitement, and most Batman films like this, or most films like this in general, make you feel emotions. And it's all the emotions. And but mainly like doom and gloom and sadness. And I'm not that type of guy that wants to be surrounded by that in general. So, congratulations to you guys in a way, because I surround myself with you, so I don't think that you're doom and gloom. So,
What?
Well, I will also make a pretty bold statement. The tunnel chase with the semi truck is the best action scene in all the Batman films for me.
Yeah,
that is stunning what they were able to do with that. And as a person who's more inclined to enjoy action films, and it came at the perfect time too, right at the midpoint of the movie. So yeah, this to me is a studly movie with tons of rewatchability. But I still wrestle whether I prefer this over Batman Begins.
Yeah, I think this is a better film, definitely, than Batman Begins. But
100%.
But all the Nolan films themselves.
The pacing of this one for Nolan's films trilogy is the best.
Yeah.
The pacing of the action and the
yeah. It's the best of the Nolan films.
I wish we got more Two-Face. That's my only beef there. I wish we saw a little bit more.
You mean more cowbell, Kevin? More cowbell?
A little more what?
A little more cowbell? More cowbell?
What? Wait. What was that, Kevin? You want more Nurse Joker?
No. I want a little more Two-Face.
Hey, Kevin, how about a little more number 1? The number 1 choice.
Well, it's pretty
Here it
obvious,
is.
people.
Boom!
Pretty obvious.
Right
The
there,
original
baby.
1989 Tim Burton classic that set the tone
Yep. Set the
for all
tone.
Batman movies.
This film is so good. Jack Nicholson took, if I recall, a pay cut in order to, or just said he wanted payment
Receipts,
on the back
receipts.
end
Run the gross.
from the gross. Yeah, he made bank. That was a smart move on Jack Nicholson. It's telling of a talent to be so confident in themselves and their ability to elevate a film, to say, yes, I'll take this amount if I can get money on the back end, because you know that you'll be able to elevate the film that much that it's going to just rake it in.
And let's talk casting too. When this was first announced, Michael Keaton was kind of a weird choice, right? Like people weren't like all on board for that.
Yep.
Right.
He was also kind of, I mean, he had Beetlejuice, but other than that, like his career was wishy-washy around that time. Like I don't think people believed that he was a movie star per se. And to add on to what Donald was saying, Jack Nicholson, it wasn't just back end on this film. I know for a fact that he got a gross from part 2, 3, and 4. I've heard rumors that he gets money for every Batman movie made. I can't confirm that. But I can confirm 2, 3, and 4, he made money off those as well. And his whole argument was, without me, you have nothing. Now, I personally, this is lower on my list because after rewatching it, there is a datedness to it that while I can appreciate the miniatures and I can appreciate all the set design and everything like that, it is getting dated for me at this point. But naturally, and I think it really heavily relies on Joker. Without Joker, this movie is virtually nothing for me.
And Prince's music. Is cool too.
Okay. But yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of this, but I will say there are pros to it that are undeniably awesome. I love the final scene where he's going up the stairs and just all of the like cool action sequences. They're all memorized in my head because they're really neat. I love the balloon poisoning. That's really fun.
Right.
Or the killer pen.
Burning him to death.
The killer pen.
The makeup.
The killer pen.
Hey, also, let's real quick. The guy that played the other reporter next to Vicky Vale,
Yes.
the wacky guy. You know who I'm talking about?
Stand-up comic.
Yeah, they recently brought that actor back in the DC Crisis on Infinite Earths television event, of the 5-episode event. It was in the first episode of the Supergirl episode of that tie-in. Robert Wool, yes. Okay, Arm Fall Off Boy, I already called that. Thank you, Arm Fall Off Boy. Robert Wool.
That character?
He played that character in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he was sitting on a bench reading the paper, and he looks up and he sees the bat symbol, and he's like, well, I guess it's that time again. And it was just like, I instantly became a kid again and fell right back into that time of like 89, 90, like watching this film and being so excited to see Batman like on the screen for the first time. It almost brought tears to my eyes for that moment. So if you get a chance to watch the whole tie-in, specifically the Supergirl tie-in episode, which is the first of the 5, for the Crisis on Infinite Earths tie-in that they did all last year in the all the DC Warner Brother CW shows, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Check it out.
So Donald, are you going to cry in a couple years with the Flashpoint movie when Michael Keaton comes back?
Dude, that's going to bring all the tears, man. That's going to bring all the tears. And speaking of all the tears, I want to bring up one more movie real quick before we go. It gets this probably would be my number one if we had gone with animated.
Let me guess.
Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
I knew it.
This story is the best story of all the Batman films. The best villains, the best of the best. The best. I can't congratulate this film enough for being as good as it was. It premiered in theaters around Christmas. They brought it back once, I believe, And then occasionally, particularly if you live in a big city, they'll get a print of it and they'll play it in theaters occasionally if you're lucky enough to stumble across that. A fantastic film, fantastic story, and I highly recommend it. For those that haven't seen it, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, #1 on my list in actual truth, but because we went with live action, it was not included.
Yeah, and just a real quick point here for all of our big comic book fans out there. Following Batman 1989, very shortly after, was a film that looked quite similar, but with a different color palette. Dick Tracy also used miniatures and costumes very effectively. And it's you can definitely tell these are like turn of the 80s into the 90s movies. And then there's a very underrated film, in my view, as far as just perfect set design, known as Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Maybe quite possibly the coolest set design I think I've ever seen, which is ridiculous to think about. But I mean, on that level, as far as that whole era has a very distinct look to it.
Yeah. Absolutely. These are all great films, and all great time to be alive and to watch these films. So definitely, if you get a chance, if you haven't seen any of those, do check them out because they are all fun. And the production is A++ on those films, definitely. So I think that's going to be it for us, right, guys?
Like and subscribe?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like and subscribe. Please.
Comment well, too, like what your list would be out of these ones, out of these 9. I'm curious to see what other people have for their...
Yeah, anybody in the comment section, if you want to comment real quick, if you disagree with some in our rankings, what you think would be #1 or would be last or something, please feel free to chime in. You're more than welcome to. Go ahead, Darren.
I was saying, we also realize that we have one of, if not the smartest audiences on the internet. So any comments that you put down there, we may respond to, but with total respect. We are not trolls. So we want to encourage the conversation because we really love what we talk about.
TJ says, Dick Tracy, must be a fan. My mom says, okay, gentlemen, night and be safe. Good night, Mom. Take care. Love you. I know
Take care, Donald's mom.
Getting a little later there, but I doubt you're going to bed anytime soon. My mom stays up really late. That's part of why my parents always stayed up late. It's part of why I'm always kind of a night owl myself.
Night owls, wow.
Been instilled in me
since a hell of a drug.
Right. Enrique says list is pretty solid. My mom says no way. So no cocaine for Mom.
I was just seeing if I got her right before she signed off.
Natural Scotch-Irish energy, guys. That's where we get it. Thank you as well, Hakeem. He says, thank you, gentlemen. Be well. You too, sir.
Thank you,
Thanks for tuning in. We always appreciate it. We appreciate having you. Please.
Oscar, if you're still there, 9.8, 9.8. All right, I'm sending them over.
Yep. Oscar, thank you, sir, for that as well. If you're still on here. Subscribe to us. Spotify is a big one. iHeartRadio. We are going to be soon up on Amazon Podcast, guys. So that's going to be exciting.
There we go. That's
to be able to tune in to us on there. We're going to get our podcast up on Anchor soon, which is another big platform, actually owned by Spotify, for those that don't know. And we're on Blueberry. Darren's favorite is
Spreaker.
We're on Stitcher. We are on TuneIn. We're just on a ton of these podcast platforms. So no matter what you're looking for. In fact, if you're listening, if like you have a favorite podcast platform and we're not on there, let us know. And we'll jump on that and get ourselves up on that platform immediately. Because that's how important you are to us. Because we also really need listeners.
That's right.
Unless it's like Pornhub podcast. We can't do that. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, I will.
We don't roll that way.
I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll do it all.
I failed you, Master Bruce.
Yep. Court of Owls. Yes, Enrique, Court of Owls is going to be an exciting thing. I think that they're bringing out in the Batman, if I recall. That's going to be coming.
That's the rumor, yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then you better go and pick up those early Batman and New 52 issues.
The Snyder.
That's true. Prospecting-wise, those are some good ones to pick up. Josh and Dino, if you're listening, thanks for tuning in, guys. Will, Enrique, Julio, thank you guys for tuning in. If you are tuning in or if you're going to be listening later, we appreciate you all. And we appreciate We Can Be Heroes. Always a great shop to go to and hang out with the boys. They're in Chatsworth, California. It's a great comic shop, so check them out.
They have the best bondage covers, the best battle covers, the best newsstands.
Definitely, according to Jerry, they have all the bondage covers. All the bondage.
That's right. They're one of the new temples of comics
Yep.
in
They are.
California.
They're great. They're great.
Anything else from you guys before we go?
That's
Thanks
it.
for stuff.
All right.
Subscribe, rate, enjoy.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. You take care, and we'll see you
At the sweet, precious.
Comic shop.
Yeah.
There we go. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good night.